Tonight, Michael Cohen, the president's former personal lawyer who once said he'd take a bullet for Donald Trump, is firing back.
I am done with the lying. I am done being loyal to President Trump.
Cohen is disputing Mr. Trump's assertion that he never directed Cohen to break the law by arranging hush money payments to two women who claim they had affairs with Trump, claims the president and his aides deny. The former fixer talking to ABC News.
Nothing at the Trump Organization was ever done unless it was run through Mr. Trump. He directed me to make the payments. He directed me to become involved in these matters.
Cohen was sentenced to 3 years in prison for his crimes, including campaign finance violations. President Trump, who first claimed ignorance about the payments, now argues they were not criminal.
They put those two charges on to embarrass me.
It's absolutely not true. I did not do it to embarrass the president.
Facing questions about his own credibility after lying to Congress, Cohen, who's cooperating with prosecutors, insists now he should be believed.
There's a substantial amount of information that they possess that corroborates the fact that I am telling the truth.
And tonight, with Robert Mueller's investigation heating up, Cohen's challenging the president's statements about his relationships with Russia.
Do you think President Trump is telling the truth about that?
No.
Michael Cohen doesn't report to prison until March, Lester, and he could keep cooperating with Mueller's team, but it's unlikely his sentence will be reduced. And Lester, Cohen says he hopes by coming clean, he will go down in history, in his words, for helping to bring this country back together.
All right, Peter, thank you. Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.